Okay, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Girls Who Giggle, and today we are welcomed by some very special guests.
Hello.
These wonderful women are some gorgeous women of God, and we're so glad to have them on the sofa. This is Abbie and Els, and they'll introduce themselves in a minute, but we find such beautiful wisdom and encouragement in these women, in like a student worker way and a friend way, but also in like a discipleship, and then also just being wonderful women that can support you. I think we've all appreciated many a wisdom that has come from these women. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves.
Thank you. Are we doing each other?
I think we should.
Go on,
Firstly,
you
that
go
was so
first.
nice though, wasn't it? Thank you so much,
you,
Lil. I
Lily.
really
That's
appreciate
all
that. Right, so I'm introducing Abbie. This is Abbie. She is 26 years
Yes, I am.
This is going so well. Sorry, she's just had a birthday.
Yes, it's fresh.
She's 26 years old. She works at Derby City Council and she's a project manager, and she is working to bring AI into the council systems. Is that
Indeed.
correct?
Very good.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah,
That is
perfect.
Abbie.
Thank you very much. This is Els. She is 25 as of September, and is student worker at Open Heaven Church, which is all of our church.
This is true.
Just
This is
for
true.
a bit of fun, can you tell us one fun fact about each other?
On
Golly
the
gosh.
spot.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's really putting us on the spot.
Okay, I've got one. I don't know if other people will find it fun, but you know, it's
We're here
quirky.
for it,
It's
we're
a
here for it.
talent. I think this is true. You can recite the whole of Hamilton, all the songs.
Absolutely
No
correct.
way.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that's quite fun, right?
Honestly, you know that meme that's like,
Is that a joke?
No,
you know that meme that's like, if someone put a gun to my head and said do something
Yeah,
properly,
yeah.
tell them I'll be home in
That'd
like
be
2
it.
hours 26 minutes. I can do
You can.
Hamilton.
Honestly,
the
I
whole way
rate that
through.
really highly.
Yeah,
We
that's
love
good,
a Hamilton.
isn't it?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you
here
so
for it. I'm here
much.
for it.
What are you gonna say for me? I've set that bar quite high. I
You
don't really
have. That was such a
I don't
good.
really have many.
That was such a good fact. Actually, I'm gonna. Oh, I don't know which one to do. I've got a few. I think I'm gonna go with, at your wedding, there was an earring too big for your ear, so you couldn't get it in your ear.
That is true.
And I think that's quite fun.
Branda's mum basically had these like Indian earrings, and I don't know what
Oh.
Indian women's lobes are like, but genuinely, you know the bit that you put through your ear, like triple the size. Of,
It was
like,
so
your
big.
earring, triple the size, and his mum was like trying to jam it in there, and I was like, it's not gonna work, it's not going in, and so I didn't wear them.
It was such a scene.
Yeah,
Like
it really
you should.
was.
Abby was there, like Annie, it's not
It's
gonna work.
really hurting.
Stop it.
Stop it now.
That's a fun fact
that
for
was-
you. I went a bit
yeah.
niche
That was
there.
a bit
but
more niche.
I should have
Like,
I should have
yeah,
followed your
very
suit
niche,
anyway.
very
Good fun facts.
Different vibes, but you
Thank
get the
you.
gist.
And we're going to swing it straight back over to you guys and ask
Okay.
you what your holler and hoots are for the week.
You can go first because I still need a sec.
I need to think about this one. My hoot for the week is, last night I had a really good tomato orzo. Not joking, genuinely that has been such a highlight for
I do
me.
actually have a opinion. Orzo is like one of the best pastas.
It's
After
so
rigatoni,
good.
Elite.
it could be a rice, it can be a pasta, it can be in a
Honestly,
salad. Elite.
very versatile, very good. That is definitely my hoot. I'm genuinely, I've been thinking about it quite a lot today, and I had it last night.
Praising God for it.
I actually am. Praise the Lord for orzo.
Oh my gosh. do I have
What's
to do-
yours?
Oh my gosh. I went on a run today. And
On your
thank
lunch
you.
break.
Thank you. On my lunch break.
Very good.
And I listened to worship music, and I was just smiling to myself, and I was like, yeah, like this is a whole vibe.
We're here for that. Love
So I
it.
was just grateful to be out and have the Lord in my ears. And yeah.
That's
Amen.
so nice.
We love.
That's the vibe.
Orzo and a lovely run. That's what we get here.
Yes.
Very
What's
good.
your hoot?
Holla.
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 Do you guys not do your hoots?
Oh,
We're leaving you to
so
do it
sorry.
today.
Just completely left you
No,
out there.
You guys should
We're
do a
here for
hoot.
you. Please,
Oh no,
tell
I
us
feel
your
like
holla.
this is
What's
all
gone in
about
your week?
us.
No, it's not.
You want to know?
Tell us your holler.
Holla. Okay.
Tell us right
What are you
now.
praying for?
What am I praying for this week? This is the one I'd not thought about. So
No.
have you got one?
To be fair, I can go. I
Thank
can
you.
go.
Take the lead.
Go girl.
I will say I am just praying for more of like what God's doing in me and through me, and just pressing more into that. And yeah, just seeing like what more there is, I suppose.
Love that. I think mine is probably, I mean, as these guys mentioned, I'm a student worker for our church, so that means I get to see a lot of what's going on with the students. My prayer is just always that God's going to do more and bring more students to church, whether that be our church or another church in Loughborough, because God's doing some amazing things. We're seeing like an openness to spirituality and faith that we've never seen before. So I was praying for that just this morning, and keen to see what more God does. I feel like it's, what week of term is it? Week 6?
Girl,
Oh my! We're getting a nod. It's week 6.
Is it week
It's
6?
week 6.
Yes.
We're getting a nod.
It's week
My
6.
Soundman Matt is.
It's week 6, but we're already seeing loads of new faces
Yeah,
at church
true.
each week. So just really
Yeah.
excited for what God's doing in students at the moment. So that is my
It's
holler.
already week 6.
Love
Yeah,
that. I
that's
know.
crazy.
Wow.
Stop it.
Snow's coming down.
No, I've been listening
I'm
to
so
Christmas
excited.
music for a week.
So excited.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone.
That
That's
was so
alright.
fun. I feel like I learnt a lot about you guys.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I feel like this is going to
good.
be the whole
That's
episode.
good.
I'm going to learn so much.
The best is yet to come, Loz.
Yes.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. So basically, if you're eagle-eyed on the episode title on Spotify or YouTube, wherever you prefer to watch, you will notice that there's a Taylor Swift reference in the episode title. I think we have a lot of Swifties on the sofa.
Not me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not me.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
I used to
Controversial
spend-
opinion.
I used to
Yeah,
spend
that should have been it.
hours in our final year. Me and Abbie would go upstairs to brush our teeth, and we would
This is
stay in the
legit.
bathroom,
Yeah.
and I would play Taylor Swift songs to her, and she would just stand in the doorway like,
And we
no.
just stare at each other,
Wait.
and Els would like sort of move like, is this a vibe or not? And I'd be like,
What is
yeah
it?
or no.
What is it
feel like-
about?
I just do not get the obsession. I'm sorry, I don't.
No,
I
but
don't
what if
get
like
it?
not even a gentle obsession, but like talk to me about her music. Like what's
It's all right. It's okay.
Abbie likes Reputation. That's what I worked out in my market research.
Yeah,
My
vibes.
Vibes.
Her
you
favourite songs
did.
are on Reputation, so I was like, "Do you know what, I'll
That's a
take
bad
it."
beat
But
vibe.
you know, it's just proof that you can be best friends. And not
It's a bad
kind of is,
vibe.
I talk to myself.
I honestly think that's the reaction that Lily has every single time I play music in the house. She's just
What,
like,
you don't like Taylor?
no, it's not even just, it's just all my music. she
Come
just
on,
stands
give
in
it
the
to
way.
me.
I
Times.
like Taylor.
Okay.
I
But
like her,
you're-
but I'm not. I haven't gone to like these. lot
This
have
level of
been
love.
to Taylor. I
Mhm.
haven't, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like the need
And
to
I would
because
go
there's an
again.
obsession that I don't like partake into. If that makes sense.
Yes.
I don't partake into it.
Not a fan. But Lauren's music is just absolute, like,
Oh, what
it's just
rubbish.
here, there, everywhere, and I just don't
Loz,
know
what do
what's
you
going on
listen
half the
to?
time.
No,
don't
Lauren's
think-
music, I'm actually going to back Lily up. Lauren's music is disarray. It's like here, there, everywhere.
Give us like a.
Like,
Do you
one
listen
day
to
she'll be
drum and
listening-
bass?
No.
No, it'll be
What
like
is it?
country one day
Yeah.
and like high pop the other, and then it's
Look,
not
Just a
bad.
mix of
We love
genres.
it.
I think it's really good. I think I'm well
I think
seasoned.
we love
Yeah.
a girl with
In a bit of
versatility.
Yeah.
Jemima, controversial, is a playlist person, and
Yeah.
I am a
You
shuffle
really are.
playlist.
I
Like I'm a
think that's
shuffle
Oh,
person.
crazy that you're a
okay.
shuffle
And so,
player.
like, every time someone gets in my car, it's just shuffle, and it's a free for all on what music is coming next.
Wow.
And I just skip until
She's
I
a
find a song,
skipper. She's
and it
I
offends
like that
everyone.
though.
It offends
she
everyone.
doesn't let the vibe sit. She's like,
If I don't think the song is gonna hit, it's getting killed. It's getting
I
cut.
get that. I mean,
Thank
I think I'm
you.
worse. I just have one playlist with like all the songs I like.
You know
on
what?
it.
You do actually.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
know. I just add like there's Christian in there, but there's like Eminem. Like,
you could be listening to like The Blessing
No,
and then go into
genuinely.
like some next drum and bass.
genuinely.
This is
Lil
why I'm not allowed to
Wayne.
play my music at small group.
That is
Lily
so
has to
funny.
do it because like
Oh, I've
all
got
of my
Yeah.
worship
worship
is in
songs
one
playlist.
playlist, and it's like really hype worship music, and then it's like really
I've
low.
had to split mine into two.
And
Mine-
Lily doesn't
One's
approve.
Like chill
called,
vibes.
What's it called? Oh my gosh, one's called Joyful Noise, and the other's
Oh,
called
Joyful
Sitting
Noise.
with the Spirit.
I love it.
Oh, love
It's
that.
an English student
I,
like
you know,
that.
I do with the vibes. I do with it differently. But let me go finish my sentence.
Tangents.
We said let's
Oh,
talk about
dear.
Taylor.
The title is called Friendship Bracelet Making, if I'm correct. And it links to today's controversial opinion, which is sometimes an argument in a friendship can actually bring you closer, not further apart.
Discuss.
Please
Let's
discuss.
sit on
For
that.
16 marks.
Please no. I've had
So
enough of
today
them.
we're going to be talking about friendship, and we're going to talk a lot about like conflict in friendship, how we can bring each other out in friendship. But you guys are two very good friends.
So sorry, I just heard
Some
Lily's
may-
waffles so loudly.
Some may say you guys are best friends.
Let's
Some may
see.
say.
Some may say.
Some may
Rumour
say.
has it.
Rumour has
that
it.
you
On the
guys
rumour.
like each other.
But can you describe your friendship journey? And then after that, what is one conflict that has pushed you guys closer together?
We're going to have to keep this
Okay.
brief, aren't we?
Right.
Do you remember how we met?
Yes, I do. Okay. Picture the scene. Rigrut. What's the area called? Courtyard.
Yeah.
Right, which is one of the halls on Loughborough campus. Rigrut Courtyard. Freshers Week. Night out. Everyone's there. This girl just appears. This is my recollection of
That's me, by
it.
the way.
Yeah. Introduced by another friend who I knew, and then there's a photo of us with there's 6 of us girls.
I
And
think
that's
that was
our
a few
first
weeks later. I think the picture was a few weeks.
First
but no,
meeting is
you
with
didn't
This is
Tested.
awkward.
It reminds me of where we were been.
It brings us back to the day.
No, you described it absolutely perfectly, but I don't think we had a picture together. I think we just went our separate ways. I think that was a different night out a few weeks later.
What are you thinking of?
I'm thinking the exact same scenario that you've described, just minus the picture.
No picture.
No, right, do you want to find it? I will. There's a photo. I'm wearing pink flare trousers. And you're on the
What's
end.
picture?
Was there a theme?
Yeah, and
Basically.
yeah, like pink.
Oh.
I think it was on
A
Wednesdays we
Wednesday.
were pink. No joke. All I remember about that though
We're
is
talking about the same night out.
no, we are
Sure.
definitely. I promise. So this friend that Abbie's talking about, I actually went to school and sixth form with, and we were in the same hall. We'd come to Loughborough together, and she came up to me. I think I was talking with one of our other friends. She came up to me and she said, Els, I've met some normal girls. And she took me over to Abbie. Normal girl. So that was my first intro to who Abbie was.
Yes.
And also a few other girls who we ended up living with a few years later.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was how we first met.
And that was 6 years ago.
2018, yeah, September
2018.
2018.
Whoa.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, yeah.
And then where do we go from there? So I briefly had started going to Open Heaven at this point, because it was like literally right at the start of our first year. And then I said to Els, drunk in a lift one night on a night out, I said, "Do you want to go?" No, are you?
You did.
I'm a Christian.
I can't lie, you did something frisky. And then you were like, you said,
Change
"Oh,
of
I shouldn't
tone.
have done that because I'm a Christian."
I see what
And
do you
I
get
said,
what she
"Oh,
said?
me
Yeah.
too." Even
Yeah,
though at
yeah,
the time I wasn't
yeah.
actually following Jesus.
It was a whole mess. And then I said, "Do you want to come to church?"
Yeah.
You said yes. And then I think I messaged you the
You
next
did
day, like,
actually, yeah.
did you actually mean that? Because you know when you have that conversation
No,
and
I've
you're
had
like,
those.
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
legit or were they just a bit high on the
Yeah.
alcohol? No. And then went to church together.
Yeah.
And literally the rest is history.
Oh.
Love that.
Oh, we were doing the same course as well.
Yeah.
And so that also helped because we were in the same subgroup for our poetry lecture, weren't we?
Is that first year poetry?
First year poetry, we
my
were in the same
gosh.
subgroup. And we used
She
to
carried it, I can't lie. She carried it.
I think someone else in the group did. I don't think we did anything.
Absolutely nothing.
But we used to sit in seminars and lectures together on ASOS looking for outfits
That's true.
for going
So
out.
real.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's such
that-
a
that was
probably our
representation
bonding,
of
like that
Really
was
good
definitely how
memories
we
of that,
bonded
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
then lived
since
together for a
then-
few years.
3 years I think we lived
3
together. Is it
years.
3 years?
Maid of
Yeah.
honours at each other's wedding. And
Dream,
here we
guys.
are.
Here we are.
On the Girls Who Giggle
Is that
podcast.
good to say?
We've made it.
Honoured.
We have made it.
This is our claim to fame.
So, what is this one conflict? I mean, there could have been multiple, but this one
I mean,
conflict
there
that
have
you
been
think.
multiple.
There have been multiple.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell us more.
Mm.
Oh, you want the
What?
juicy stuff?
We're getting straight into the
Oh,
juice.
where do we start? Okay, go on. You
Well,
begin.
yeah, I think it goes without saying that part of friendship is you've got to do conflict sometimes. And we've had our fair share. I don't think an unusual amount.
No, just
like,
funny.
just
funny
like we
ones.
look back on it and we're like, gosh, why
What
on
the
earth?
heck? Yeah.
And do you know, a lot of it involves drink and
it
being
honestly does
tired
for us.
and boys,
Yeah.
like just silly things. But the one that the one that we're going to mention is we were visiting our who are they?
Two friends from uni who were on placement at
Yeah.
the time.
So we went down to Oxford to visit them, and we'd had a lot to drink, and we were playing a silly game, and the game just got off the rails a little bit, and we misunderstood each other at one point. And so I thought Abbie was saying one thing, she thought I was saying another. And we had the fattest beef. Genuinely, the fattest beef. I remember we were stood at the kitchen sink and you were like, no, that's not what I mean.
And the boys were just there like...
we were like, what's going on?
Because it just went from like really, really fun to like really, really bad.
Oh, it was
really
so
quickly.
dramatic. It was so
And then
dramatic.
you walked off crying, and
Oh,
then
it was a
I was
mess.
crying, and
Yeah.
it was a whole mess.
It was a whole mess. And then we were actually sharing a bed that night. And so
Oh
we knew we had to talk about it. And so I remember getting into bed, and do you remember you actually hit your head really
I
hard on
really
the windowsill?
did. I remember that very well.
That was
actually.
part of the resolution. But yeah, Abs was like, I remember you being like,
I
oh,
don't
I'm really
remember.
sorry, I shouldn't have like reacted like that. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, that wasn't what I meant. And we just had to like say what
Yeah.
we actually were trying to say. And by that point, you know, the alcohol had worn off a little bit.
A bit more sane.
We were a bit more sane. We brushed our teeth, you know, like good things
We're
had
Taylor Swift in
happened.
the doorway.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Oh,
yeah, I think
that was one. Yeah.
that definitely, I think that was, I remember it being probably like the first time we'd properly had to have like a wider discussion
Yeah.
about like a bit of beef.
Yeah.
Like before it was just fine to be like, oh, it's fine, let's
Brush
sweep
it
it under
off.
the carpet.
Yeah.
But that was probably the first time when we had to actually like name how we'd made each other feel, say how we were going to move forward, and actually like address how that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you'd done anything to that.
I mean, probably just that. When I think about conflict over the years, I think in the first few years of friendship, it was probably more volatile, wasn't
We
it?
did it so badly.
Like we'd just easily like, and you're right, often drink was involved. But as we've gotten older and probably as we've got closer friends, I think conflict looks totally different now. Like there's no way that would happen now. Like
No.
you just kind of learn from it. But it
Yeah.
wasn't like make or break. Like you know.
Yeah, not at all. And like to be completely transparent, like last night, Ab sent me a voice note like, not sure what you did there was the best thing, and I had to be like, no, do you know what, probably wasn't. Like, so like it's become more of like an open dialogue,
Yeah.
rather than like I'd never feel like Abby's coming for me, because I know
It's
that
the way
whenever
you do it, isn't it?
yeah, it's the way you do
Yeah.
it, and like I know that whenever she says something that I'm like, oh, that does make me feel a bit uncomfortable, it's like it's only because she cares about me and like she wants the best for me. So yeah, I feel like
That's
as
a very
we've-
good answer.
as we've matured and grown older, it's definitely become easier,
Definitely.
and it does propel you forward 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think that leads perfectly into today's verse, which is Proverbs 27:17, which is as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Which love that verse.
Such
Thanks,
a good one.
like, that was such a good love it. I love it. So there's like a couple questions that we have, and it'll probably just go into like a wider discussion. But I just wanted to ask, what do you guys take from the verse? And then what does it mean to sharpen one another? And like, how do you see that play out in your friendships? And then how does conflict in friendship play into that? And like, you've already kind of addressed it, but like accountability and all of that sort of stuff. Jays. Yeah.
Cool.
Where do you want to begin?
Let's start with the first one, or we're gonna go off on such a
let's-
tangent. We'll leave
Let's
there.
try and
Yeah.
stick to these
What
questions.
do we take away from it? I mean, the main thing is just, I guess, that concept of like growing together and rooting for each other in that growth. And I think that's something we've always done very well. And I think, especially as Christian girlies, there's definitely a high call to like doing friendship well and almost like honouring each other, I suppose, by being willing to have those like more uncomfortable conversations. Like what you said, it's never nice or easy to say to a friend like, oh, was that the right thing? Or like, oh, could it have been different? But the fruit is always like really strong. So yeah, I just suppose the idea of the ironing
Ironing being sharp.
I mean, we are ironing one another, I suppose. I guess just that idea of like iron sharpening iron, like that.
We've lost it.
We've lost it.
She's always going to read this verse and think of ironing now.
Can I just say, I'm always the one that gets it last, and then I'm always the one that ends up crying.
Oh, I think that perfectly sums it up to me.
Do you need a sec? Are you sure?
She's great.
You're right, yeah?
In the newsroom. Throw it back.
Gone, absolutely gone. Don't know where I was.
You're making a really good
You're
point.
talking about the ironing.
I was.
You
Ironing
you
one
said,
another.
as iron sharpens iron, and then that's when
That
Lily
was-
cried.
Brilliant. I don't know why I was
The
going.
word of the word,
in
really.
friendship.
It's deep.
Were you
girly.
gonna say, as iron sharpens iron, like you strengthen one another because you become. I mean, I'm going to use the word sharper, but I feel like that is the relevant
Yeah.
word. Like you become clearer, like more
Mm.
focused, like more like true to who you are. I think like friends are so good at
Yeah.
recognizing the gold in you and calling out the gold in you, and so actually, like I feel like when Abbie calls out good stuff in me, I'm like, oh, okay, I feel really clear and distinct about who I am. And actually that's so important that we do that and cheer each other on in that way,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. The good and the bad well, not the bad, but like like you said, like
What did I say before we
challenging.
started filming? I was like calling out the good in each other, never calling out the worst, but like asking good questions about like the bad stuff in us.
I don't remember.
I think that summed it up. That was it.
I think you just said it.
But I feel like that's important because I feel like as iron sharpens iron, that's not a case of like, say if like Abbie annoyed me, if I was gonna like try and sharpen our friendship in that moment, that it wouldn't happen if I was gonna go to Abbie and be like, oh, you've actually really annoyed me, by the way, you did this
Yeah.
and this, and play like the blame game. Actually, it's so much easier and better and healthier, I think, to be like, oh, by the way, when this happened, it made me feel X, Y, Z, and I wonder like what was going on for you in that moment, and just like clarifying both sides of the story. That's so much more strengthening than it is to like play the blame game and be like, you're at fault.
That's a really good point. And it just made me think about, like, generally, I suppose, asking questions is often just the best way to not even challenge, but like obviously the way we used to do conflict, which was the more volatile, probably didn't really achieve much, whereas actually just removing the anger from it and just asking like, oh, was that the best thing to do? Oh, like, what about doing it this way? Completely shifts the like aura of what you're saying, but you still probably get to the same place, and if not, probably somewhere better from doing that.
Yeah, it's like crazy how much miscommunication really
my
just like
gosh.
throws a spanner in it.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
fully just get derailed. Like you guys said it in your conflict, but like genuinely it's so easy to just miscommunicate with people. I feel like I've definitely done it with both you, and like you, like friendships I hold so dear, and definitely like miscommunicate, and like I'm definitely not. I'm working on it, and like everyone is always working on just becoming a better communicator, but like to not let that stand in the way.
Yeah, I do think like in our friendship, what we're really good at, and that's not like a look at us thing, but it's like something that we've learned.
Yeah, cheer
But like
yourself
something that
on.
we've learned to do is like actually like sit down and chat about it.
Yeah.
And like there's been times that we actually like all three of us need to sit down on always this couch
and
We
have some
to
really
set
uncomfortable
and
chat.
have some really
Yeah.
uncomfortable chats, and that is us like challenging each other, but also like rethinking about and shifting our perspective together. But it's the fact that we're willing to do it together that strengthens our friendship, but also
100%.
strengthens each other.
And I think it's really important, like what Abbie said and what Els said, is just like for it never to come out of a place of like anger or like oh, I was listening to a talk yesterday, and he was talking about like being slow to speak and quick to listen and all of that, and like asking the right questions, which is literally like what you guys are saying, and how much like conflict resolves. And like by listening, you're not sat there like thinking, oh, this is what I'm going to say to prove that I'm right, because that's not listening. You're not listening to each other, but it's more just sitting and like actively like trying to figure out where they're coming from, which was kind of a cool
But you
No,
know
that's
what?
so good.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I heard that's on similar on what you said, Lauren, of just like we should always listen to understand rather than listen to respond, and let that be the driving force. And just, sorry, one more thing to say on this. I feel like so much of the sitting down and talking about it, you have to humble yourself so much to know that you are not always going to be right, and like your perspective and your narrative isn't always going to be correct. So I feel like that's had to happen loads of times with me and you, where I thought I was absolutely bang on the line, and you were like, no, you weren't.
And
like,
vice versa.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I know like if someone might be listening who maybe has newer friendships or whatnot, like there's got to be an element of like forgiveness to it as well, because like I think with the way we used to do it, imagine if one of those times where it had gone really wrong, we'd just be like, right, you know what? No, you're an awful person. So are you. End of. Like, it's not easy to, at the start of a friendship, feel really comfortable to be like, oh, you have actually upset me, or like, oh, that didn't sit right. So I guess there's got to be an element of just, it takes time, doesn't it, to like grow that depth. So if anyone's listening and they're like, oh, my friendships aren't like that at the moment, it takes time.
Yeah.
Probably as well.
It's taken us 6 years, I think, to get to this
Honestly,
point. Like,
yeah.
it's a hard graph, but I think that's what's so important about iron sharpening iron, is like, it does take effort, and like your
commitment.
friendships will
Yeah.
Sorry, there's an ad. That is so
my
funny.
goodness.
Where's that fire gone?
I used to feel guilty to Klarna. Addict. Guilty.
This is all. This
that,
is
you
time for
were.
confession, Abs.
Oh, it's genuinely confession time. Used to be a
We've
Klarna
never had an
addict.
ad.
I can't remember what I was saying.
Do you want to move on
Well,
to the
yeah,
next
we can move
question?
on. Yeah.
Well, we
I think
kind
that
of
went
touched about it, about like what
Mm.
it means to sharpen well and with the verse. But what do you think Jesus is saying about friendship here?
Ooh la la.
I think he's saying always make an effort to pull out the gold in each other. Sorry. Ooh la
Ooh
la.
la la.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, I think he's saying always make an effort to call out the gold in one another, even when you're not seeing a lot of gold.
Yeah.
I think that's an intentional choice of like.
In my clip.
I can't lie, that made me a little uncomfortable.
So you held it so far.
It was so
Call out the gold, even when it's hard to see the gold or feel the gold. I feel like friendship can sometimes be quite a feeling of like, do I feel close to this person? So yeah, I feel like, I mean, you've called out so much gold in me. Like Abbie's so good at like being really specific in her encouragement, and so there've been times where like I don't know, like I've led a gathering and Abbie would say like, when you said that specific thing, that was really good because it did this in the room. Or like when we've been at a small group and like I've questioned someone and like tried to challenge them, Abbie will text me afterwards and be like, I thought that was a really good challenge because XYZ. And like it's really specific encouragement. And I think that is what does the sharpening. Like it's all well and good that Abs could say to me like, oh, you're so compassionate. It's like, oh, that's really nice, and like I am a compassionate person, but where like if there's no specificity in it, it's encouraging, but it's not going to propel me further.
That's
I don't know.
such a
really
nice
good
challenge. I feel like everyone should try and like incorporate that into their like,
100%.
daily lives, because
100%.
how much better would your friendships be if you
Oh
were
my
just
gosh.
like loving on them?
Yeah.
Specifically,
Loving
like,
on them.
just like
Yeah.
Affirm me, Lily.
I'm gonna affirm you.
Tell me I'm really funny.
Abby never fails
Can I
to
be
make me
Can I
laugh.
just say, Abby? Lily talks about you non-stop. She's like Abby me.
She's so cute.
We just love each other.
Yeah, she just
no.
she just spoke so hard in my life on Saturday, and it really just like yeah, it was really really good. It was deep and good.
I'm gonna
Amen.
like buy compliment like Abby through Lily. Lily gave me a compliment and was like, that was like, wow, really good. Like it reminded me a little bit of Abby. Yes, mate, I've done it.
That's huge. That's such a good compliment.
I was like, wow.
On Saturday when I was with Abby. It's not an idol. Lily just loves her.
We love each other.
That's really lovely.
It's
It's
precious.
precious.
But you know what? That's actually relevant. We can make that really relevant because
There's a link somewhere.
Come on.
because like what you're saying,
Mm.
that idea of like genuine encouragement and seeing gold in people and pulling it out, like we don't know each other that well. It's quite new, isn't it? But making that intention to be really specific, and I feel like with each other we're really good at calling out the gold, is a great foundation for a new like friendship or whatever you want to
Lily
call
makes
this
us
thing.
cry.
Lily has to learn to take compliments.
You make her cry.
You're doing so well,
Oh,
sweetie.
Lil, it's precious.
Yeah, and I think actually, let's go on to talk about that with friendship. Actually,
Yeah, go
I
on.
can't
Good
lie.
segue.
We say this a lot, but we are very like we do a lot of encouragement on others. But then, how can you accept it as kind of from where it's more like
great.
it comes from a place that you trust. You trust your friends. You love your friends. Why is it that you can't accept encouragement from your friends, but actually you're like, okay,
that's so good.
Yeah,
Missy,
that
this
was-
one's on you.
yeah.
Oh, listen.
This is on you.
Sorry, was it labelled into a question nicely? As in, is there a question that you can answer from that? 'Cause I
Yeah,
thought that was
I
just
think
me
so.
going.
Because I feel like you used to not like.
Yeah.
Oh, I still
nice
struggle
words.
with it.
Yeah. That's why
I
I
still
said
struggle with
this
it.
is all you.
I feel like I've spoken too much. You can take some of this. No, but I think I still struggle with it, to be completely honest. I find, I believe a lie in my head that if I say thank you to someone giving me a compliment or giving me some encouragement, they think I agree, and that's going to make me look up myself or arrogant, which is so not true. To say thank you for something is to gratefully receive something. So I think some advice I've been given over the years by wonderful, wise people is to, whenever you do receive affirmation, encouragement, compliments, to hear them, say thank you, but then immediately say thank you to God, because actually it's God that has given you that gift, or has given you that skill, or enabled you to have that difficult conversation, or so I feel like flipping it back to God and giving glory to the one who made me has helped, and has also kind of detangled that web of lies that I was believing around, if I say thank you, that means they think I agree, and then that means they're going to think I'm arrogant, and that means da 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 da. Like, it just absolutely spirals, and it's so unhealthy. But I also think another level to it is like Abs is obviously a really like trusted friend, and like where if she gives me encouragements or affirmation, I remember I used to be quite bad at it with you, but then I remember the wonderful Jess Reed, if you're listening, hello. Jess Reed said to me, when we were talking about this before, like years ago, I was talking about how I think that people are lying to me, maybe if they give me a compliment or affirmation because they want to make me feel better. And she literally straight up looked at me and was like, do you think they're a liar then? And I was like,
Els hit me with that one time. I went,
it's deep,
That's
isn't it?
deep.
And so I feel like I've had to apply that
Really deep.
particularly to like best friends and my now husband. Like, if he's given me compliments and affirmation, my choice in the moment is to believe him, because he's not a liar. You're not a liar. I don't believe that they're liars. Like, so yeah, I feel like it's a conscious choice, and it does take time. It's still taking time for me to reverse that thought process, because it can be so entrenched. But I don't know if you'd add anything.
Well, I was
to
just
that.
going to say, as a friend, like journeying with a friend who finds that, I mean, I think just because there's often a little dialogue that goes a little like this. I might say, like, did really good at this. Oh no, stop it. And then I might just be like,
do you think so?
and just almost just being like, nah, or like just stopping it and being like almost supporting when you see that pattern.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're close friends, or when you get to know someone, you can you know them, and you know that's part of like who they are. And so what can you do to actually like support or help? Not just like hearing them say that and be like, okay, but actually like trying to support.
Yeah.
And like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're
And
really
you do
good
the
at
same
that.
with me. Like it's
so right, we keep going.
Is everyone okay up there?
Oh, we keep going. So
Yeah, I feel like you do such a good job of like calling me out when you think I'm not receiving it, and being like, no, you actually need to hear that. Yeah, like you actually need to receive that for what it is, because that will encourage you and that will do this for you.
As do you though. Like I feel like because we know each other so well, we can pick up in other situations now. Like I can tell if something might have like upset Els, or like if she's not receiving something, and then I have like I guess the privilege, and I should use it to say like, I saw that, and like what they said is true, or like don't put yourself down. It's like it's constantly being intentional, isn't it, and going that extra mile,
Yeah.
because like you really care, like you want to see that person like thrive. So like how can we support each other in that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love.
I think we're going to go into our prance in advance, but I'll give it over to Lily to explain what's a prance in advance.
Let's hit it.
You spoke so beautifully, both of you, about how friendships are a place of encouragement, but then also a place of obviously growing together, and that does come with a little bit of negative. And we have another ad.
It's fine. But we're not being
It's not
recorded
anymore. Yeah. Sorry.
They can't see.
You know, that comes with a bit of negative
I would say not negative. I would say
No.
uncomfortable.
So
Like,
yeah, that's actually tell you what,
uncomfortability.
scratch that, cut that out. Friendship comes with a level of encouragement, but then also uncomfortability as well. And I think it's very important to be with each other in the uncomfortable. And I think you spoke about that really lovely. But Prance in Advance, let's go on to that, is where, again, like being in the uncomfortable is where you can grow and develop. And Prance in Advance is the next steps of that development. So how do you think, maybe for us, for the listeners, for the viewers, how can they move forward with this verse and sharpen each other in their friendship?
Just any advice, really.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, advice.
Any quick dimes?
I mean, first thing, I always remember this little quote or phrase thing, which is like, I think it's the 5 people closest to you, you're most likely to become like. Almost like you kind of pick up like, which I know.
My brain just like
when
exploded.
you deep it makes a lot of sense. Like
Yeah.
the people that you choose to spend your time with, it will rub off on you. And like I think in a really positive way, that's been a great thing from our friendship, because anyone who knows Els obviously knows very kind and encouraging, but also very loyal and like passionate as well, and like so many more things, but I won't keep listing. But obviously, having spent so much time together, those things rub off on me. And like I know since we've become friends, the difference in terms of how I now do conflict, even, or how I use words, or like the way I use words, has totally transformed. And like that's a great thing that's come from our friendship. So there's like wonderful things that you see in yourself as a result of your friends, which might sound a bit of a weird way to look at it, but I guess it's that
No, I
like
think it's
reflection thing of
Yeah.
it bounces back on you.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, just invest in good people and you'll see great things for yourself too, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to tell the other person what they're bringing out on you as well. Like, I've never felt so affirmed as when Abs first started to say to me, like, oh, I feel like you're making me more compassionate, or like, I feel like you're making me more of this. And like for me, Abs has really taught me so much about like standing up for myself. And actually, I used to let people like walk all over me, like genuinely. That's the downside that comes with the compassionate stuff. But Abs has really taught me to like hold my own, and actually, I'm okay to have a voice and that I have a contribution to bring. So yeah, it's really strengthening when you call out what you're doing in each other. So that's something I definitely agree with. Well done. I'm trying to think if there's any other advice I'd
Do
give.
you guys have Lauren Knowles?
Well, I was just gonna say, I was like the more you like, I feel like when you guys like affirm me and stuff, it makes me take when you guys are holding me accountable or being like, hey, you might not have done that as well as you could. I feel like I take it so much more like personally.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you guys affirm me and you guys are so positive and you see the goodness in me, you know that I'm not a bad person, or like I didn't mean to like hurt a person's feelings or something. And so like when you're like, oh, you're actually that was really lovely of you in that minute, that when you then turn around and go, hey Lauren, like I feel like you could have handled yourself like maybe in that situation a little bit better. I feel like it means so much more, because it's or like I just automatically feel like you're coming at me from a very loving position, like you love me, and that's why you say it. And I feel like generally that's quite, I'm really grateful for both of you. I feel like I've said this in like another episode, but the way that like we hold each other accountable is something that like I'm very passionate about, the way that we hold each other accountable. I love it. I feel like it makes me thrive. But yeah, and like, because it is what I always said, like you become the people around you, and I feel like but then and you get to push yourselves together, and you get to like become more like each other and more like Jesus, and you're just like working your way forwards together, and it's so much more, it's so much nicer when you're doing it together.
It's like all that thing about like vulnerability and authenticity, isn't it? Like, and I think that's why we feel like when we hold each other accountable, like we're doing it with love, because we're very vulnerable with each other and we're very authentic with each other, and it's coming out of a place of like we all know our hearts, and we're not trying to come at it at any kind of angle, but we're just trying to see each other grow and be more like Jesus. Like when I think about like our difficult conversations, it's never been like a well, I just don't agree with what you've done, and it's more of a like, I love you and I don't actually want anything to disrupt this. I want us to grow together, and this is why I'm calling it out. It's not in the malicious intent of, I think you're a bit naff, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. You're a bit
Perfectly.
naff.
I think that as a fellow girl who hates conflict,
Name
I
it,
detest
honestly.
conflict.
Hello.
And I find it really uncomfortable to sit in it and feel it. I think my prance advance, kind of what we've discussed, would be actually, hey girl, or whoever's listening, sit in it, feel it, and talk to your friends.
Yes.
And look at it from a Jesus perspective, and look how you can like love someone as well as you can, like Jesus did. And if that involves forgiveness, that involves forgiveness. But then if that doesn't involve forgiveness, on as in they forgive you as well, then I'd say sit in it and just be there.
I think that's so important what you just said, Lil, because there's so much in scripture about forgiveness and also like reconciliation. Like Jesus is so for reconciliation and teaches about it and says how to do it. So I think there's so much we can learn from the pages of the Bible about it, 100%.
And I also just want to put out there, I feel like not speaking is just miscommunicating. Like, because you're just sitting, like, the other person is not aware that you're upset because you're not going to speak up. And like,
we call that stewing.
Stewing.
Oh, how
have we not talked about stewing?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like, I mean, there's not much more to say about it, really. You just, what you just said, when you're thinking something or you're feeling something and you just sit in it.
When you keep hold of something.
Nothing with it.
And it's
and
nothing
it's
about the
round
thought.
and round and round.
It's just like rotting your brain.
It's
And
nothing
no
like
one
a
else
casserole,
is
yeah.
impacted.
You're
It's
just
like you can't
doing
move
damage
forward.
to yourself.
Exactly.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what that actually also does is changes your perceptions of your friends, because
Oh
you're
my
not
gosh.
vocalizing at all. And so like, if you don't, you're breaking friendships that aren't even meant to be broken, because you're sitting and letting your brain like overanalyze the situation and basically create this whole breakdown and narrative that actually hasn't happened because you've not voiced it out of that person.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel like it could be a completely different episode of like what is sitting with it to make sure that like you are responding well in your emotions, and what is stewing, like what is just going around in circles.
But like the difference between like sitting and stewing
is
is like it's God, isn't it? It's like sitting, you're sitting with God and chatting to him about it. Stewing, you're just sitting by yourself and letting the worst come worse.
Precisely.
Honestly, the stewing metaphor works so well because, baby, you can turn up the heat, you can add ingredients.
Oh
like,
my
the
God. Take it
metaphor
off the hob.
works.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I've said to Az before, I was stewing on that, but that's off the hob now.
Yeah.
Like,
we're done.
that's off the hob now. We don't need to stew on that.
Maybe we need to adopt this.
I know. I feel
Honestly.
like this is. I'm going to sit on that. Like, next controversial opinion time on this couch.
Stew.
I'm going to be like, guys, this is what I was stewing on.
Yeah.
This is what I was stewing on. Just putting it on the mic.
I don't want this episode to end. I'm having such a fun
so
time.
lovely. It's so fun.
I feel like this is like every conversation I have with Abbie and Els. I'm like, this is great. I feel like I'm learning a lot.
But yeah, this has been a great episode. But I'd actually like to invite you guys to pray for us and with us as well, and everyone at home, if you'd like to take this moment to pray with us, whether you're in the car, on your walk, doing
Don't
whatever.
close your eyes if you're on the car though, please.
Don't close your eyes.
Let's remain safe.
2 eyes on the road, peeps. But if you, Abbie and Els, would like to pray for us, I don't know how we prepped this.
Sure thing, yeah. Yeah, God, I just thank you for this time together. I thank you for great chats and vulnerability. I thank you for friendship and what a blessing it is to us. And I just pray that from this time sat on the sofa chatting, that your spirit continue to be with us and be working through our friendships, and to all those listening as well. And yeah, God, just thank you for these lovely girls who run this podcast, and thank you that they're here taking time to spread more of who you are and who you want us to be.
And yeah, God, we just pray for all of us and anyone listening that our friendships would just be marked by you, Jesus, that you would be at the centre of our friendships, that you would be the one who teaches us, who leads the way, who encourages us to call out the good in each other, but also encourages us to do reconciliation and to do forgiveness and to do conflict really well. And so, yeah, we just pray that you would be in our midst as we go about our friendships for the rest of our lives, Jesus. We pray that would be a continuous space where we just invite you in and invite you to have your way. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks,
Wow.
guys.
Thank you so
Such
much.
fun.
So
I
fun.
love it.
Yeah, thank you girls for coming
Thanks for
on. You are
having
now
us.
officially girls who
I've made it.
yeah.
Well, guys, that's the end of the episode. Thank you guys again so much for coming on, and for those who are listening. That's it for this week. Goodbye, and remember, wherever you are, keep giggling. I feel like we're Strictly.
Keep giggling.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.